Here we have the Yom Yom. And today's Yom Yom, a saying from the previous Rebbe. This is a good one here today. One of the Baal Shem Tov's teachings says, it's from this week's Torah portion. If you see a donkey of your enemy suffering under its burden, then it says you should refrain from helping it. It doesn't mean you should refrain. It means you should help it. It says, and you think you should refrain. In other words, you must aid it. It's a strange sentence. It says, Ki teres chamor sonecha rovitz tachas masao azov tazov imo. It says you must, azov means to stop, but in this case it means to help. So a simple meaning, you see your enemy, you hate your next door neighbor, you hate him, he drives over your front lawn all the time, and he plays loud music at nighttime, and he won't listen to what you say, and he throws his garbage on your porch, and you hate him, and you see that he's driving his car, and suddenly you see that there's too much of a burden on his car. He got a flat tire or something. So it says you should help him. You should help him. Okay, that's an unusual case. And you know, also it's talking about donkeys, not talking about cars. Is it really the same thing? Who knows? But it says in the Torah that if you see your enemy and his donkey is fallen because there's too much, the burden is fallen off of his, and he can't put it back on, you should help him. And it says, and especially your enemy. This comes to because you're supposed to love every Jew, and if you hate this guy, even if it's according to the Torah, you're supposed to hate him, right? But nevertheless, you should hate him only because the Torah says not for your own personal reasons. Your personal reasons is you have to put aside. Well, what's the sign you put it aside? Because the same Torah that says you have to hate this person, let's say he's a person that's a cheater or a liar, the same Torah says that you have to help him put this burden back. So if you hate the person only because of the Torah says, then you're only motivated by the Torah. Then you should also help him put the burden back. Okay, that's the normal meaning. How often are you going to come across a person who has a flat tire? Your enemy has a flat tire. So the Rebbe is saying it happens all the time, and it happens every moment. Every moment. It says when you see a chamor means a donkey, but it also means your material self, chumriyut. When you examine your body and your normal desires and feelings and urges, you'll see that that's really your enemy. Your enemy is not your mother-in-law or your next door neighbor or whoever it is. That's not your enemy. Your enemy is how you interpret all these things and how you are when you're not around your next door neighbor, whatever. Your enemy, your chamor, your physical body really hates your godly soul. The godly soul wants to do what God wants, and it wants spiritual. You'll see that that's your enemy. And not only that, you'll see that because your body is your enemy and it is suffering under the burden, what? Namely, in doing Torah and commandments, it's suffering. The body doesn't want to do it, right? Like it says, the Torah is the tzora. The whole problem is that there's Torah and the commandments, and I shouldn't do this, but I want to do it. And you have to do this, but I don't want to do it. Then that all of a sudden you might think that, you know what, let's just, if that's what's making my problems, so I'm not going to help my body. I'm going to do mortification. I won't eat. I won't get married. I won't live in a house. I won't do this. I'm going to be a spiritual person. I see how bad my body is, and my body is leading me to do really bad things. And therefore, I'm going to break my body. Says the Baal Shem Tov, that's not the way to do it. That's not what the Torah says. You have to help it. Purify your body. Refine it. Control your thoughts. Control your speech. Control what you do. Do good things. Think good things. Say good things. Say good things. But don't break it by mortification. Don't separate yourself. Get married. Have a family. But treat your wife not like an object, your object. Treat her like a human being, like a Jew, like the Torah wants. Force yourself. Have money, but do with the money, right? Don't be over possessive with the money. Don't spend it on bad things. Have money, have a house. I was once met by somebody, a person that was opposed to Chabad, and he told me that he really wasn't always opposed to Chabad, and that the fact of the matter is he's really not so opposed. It's just that his rabbis tell him that he should be. And he said that, in fact, he even went into the Rebbe once I said, really? He said, yeah. When he was younger, this fellow was already like in his 40s. When he was younger, before he got married, he decided that he was going to live a life of self, what do they call it, self-mortification. So he found this old abandoned sort of garage or something, and that's where he lived. He lived over there, and he slept, in the embarrassed fleece, and he ate the most. And he heard about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, a great person, and he wanted to show how holy he was, and he wanted to be even holier. I don't eat only once a day, and I only this, and I don't sleep, and this. And he thought the Rebbe would really be impressed. So the Rebbe said to him, "That's not the way that's not Judaism. That's not the way to do Judaism." He says, "You have to be a healthy person. You have to eat regularly. You have to live in a normal place. You have to get married. You have to have a family." So he said to the Rebbe, "Listen, maybe I hear there's this book called the Tanya. Should I read it?" And the Rebbe said, "No, you can't. You shouldn't read it. You're too coarse." That's what the Rebbe told him. He said, "You're too coarse. Du bist zu viel grub." He says, "You're too coarse. You have to read the book, The Duties of the Heart, Chovot Levavot." He said, "Really?" I said, "Really? That's what the Rebbe told you?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, did you read it?" He said, "No, I haven't read that book either." But he did get married. At least he did take the Rebbe's advice of that. That's what the Rebbe is saying. Don't mortify your body. You want to be holy by completely leaving the physical and being only spiritual. The fact is, you're not being spiritual either. You're thinking only about yourself, right? A spiritual egotism, which is not good. It says you have to purify your body, but don't break it by mortification. Okay, let us now go to the story.